Namaste. You can see the image on the left. I'm 37 years old in Costa Rica, about a couple months away from having a drug-induced manic episode. And on the right, I am 45 years old, almost 7 years sober, and I got ghosted that time and recently too. And that's why I'm making these videos. If you're going through a breakup right now, you got ghosted, this video is for you. If you are going through a breakup, it can be very emotional. And when you're trying to control the situation, trying to fix it, trying to fight it, what happens is that when you try to overcome these thoughts and they cannot be overcame, as an example, your partner just broke up with you and said it's over, you see that they've moved on. And then what happens is that you resort to the path of least resistance. Now, people don't like to hear this, but when you have resentment or you're talking bad about somebody, you have indignation, you have bitterness, what happens is that you develop resentment because when you can't control something, you lose control. And then you may put your hands on things you don't want to. Sugar, alcohol, marijuana, watching TV, watching movies, binge watching, playing video games. All of these things can happen when your brain chemicals are so altered. Norepinephrine spikes, serotonin drops, dopamine drops are all a part of a breakup. You're not abnormal, you're not crazy. The hormones are so intense and the neurotransmitters are so out of whack that you just feel out of control. I had a cocaine-induced manic episode when I was 37 in the image on the left. During that time, I was about 3-4 months away from a cocaine-induced manic episode with the image on the left. And what happens is that during that time, when you are coming off of cocaine, I did cocaine for about 4 to 6 months. And when you're coming off of the cocaine, it's such a drag and it's such a drop that you just sleep for like a couple of days. And some of the same things happen with a breakup. And now that I'm going through a breakup, I want to share with you what I'm doing to not blame the other person, to not go back to them, to not text somebody else, to not go online and date. Instead, I don't want to develop resentment towards myself because I'm out of my core values. And because I got ghosted, I don't want to take it out on somebody else. Here's what you can do instead. I'm Dhruva MD, and I'm a practicing board-certified family doctor. I was single for 10 years, but 3 years of those 10, I was actually dating. But 7 years, I was single intentionally, on purpose, because I just didn't want to have problems. I didn't want to get rejected anymore. I didn't want to feel I was stupid, I was dumb, and that I was no good, and that all these doctors said I have anxiety, bipolar, depression, ADHD. I just didn't want to have anybody else say that it's your anxiety. It's because of your depression. Oh, you need to go see a doctor. Oh, it's your ADD. I didn't want to hear that anymore. What did I do? I just stayed alone thinking that that's the easy path. But I developed this process called Mind Hygiene that's supported by medical evidence, which helped me heal during that time. And I thought that I was a big failure. I thought that I was stupid. I've written so many rap songs and sang songs on me being lonely and me being like not a good person and me being dumb, so much so that I wrote a book called Dumb Doctor. I was embarrassed to share this before, but what happens is that when you go through a breakup and you're able to put all of the tools in place that you once didn't think you could, meaning I didn't go back online and start dating. I didn't talk bad about this person. There was nothing that happened. There was no argument. I'd actually even prepared a weekend for this person and they just didn't show up. And it was like we were talking for a few months and nothing against her. There are so many people that have ghosted me. So this could be anybody. You know, I'm a practicing family doctor. I'm not going to call out anybody. This is not their fault. She did what she needed to do to support herself. She may have thought that I was too intense. So I'm thinking about these things as I'm going through a breakup instead of some of the things that I used to do before, like in the image on the left where I was 37 and I was doing drugs, alcohol, marijuana, gambling. Now what I'm doing is I'm working out, running, not eating sugar, being healthy, looking the best I've ever looked in my whole life. And the other drug that I have is inspiring others as through my patients and through you on YouTube. I have no girlfriend now. I live alone. My mom died 4 years ago. My brother died 6 years ago. We've never even been a family unit. I've lived alone almost all of my life. I've slept alone in the same bed most of my life. Once again, I thought it was a big problem, but at least now I understand that through this breakup that I'm here to inspire others. And that's what I hope for you too, that if you're going through a breakup, you've been ghosted, you stay down for a second, for an hour, for a day, for a month, for years to be the best version of yourself And people will ask you how you did it, and then you'll be able to inspire others one day too. Imagine that. Medical evidence shows that breakups in hormones are very real. Oxytocin crashes, that's your bonding chemical. It just drops off, like withdrawal from a drug. Imagine that. You have this bond with somebody, you're hanging out with them. Let's say just a week ago, you were just with them, you were smiling with them, you were intimate with them, you ate with them, and then a week later, done. For some reason that is beyond your control, they're gone. Oxytocin drops, you're not acting wild or dumb. It's not abnormal. Dopamine dysregulation. You seek validation by scrolling and then reaching out. Imagine that. Your dopamine hits are so low that you're like, I'm gonna go online and date. I'm gonna go find somebody else right now. I wanna fill this void. It's not abnormal. Serotonin drops, your mood tanks, and then you start looping on thoughts. Here's the big problem, is the thoughts and thinking too much. That's where you have to write. If you live alone, you have mental illness, you wanna survive, you gotta write. It doesn't have to be my process. It can be any process. But if you don't write, then you're gonna be confused. And if you start talking to a bunch of people, asking them for help, asking them what they think, you're not gonna know what you're thinking, and thereby you're gonna carry these resentments, these problems over to your next relationship. If you don't learn to see what you did in the relationship, your dopamine spikes and drops will always happen when you're scrolling, when you're playing video games, when you're looking for somebody else, or you're looking at their profile. Let's say something happens and a year later they get married and then divorced. Well, your dopamine will go up and down. You don't want that. You just want to accept your life, embrace it, and soften the process, and that's where mind hygiene comes in. Norepinephrine spikes. Emotional, memory, and trauma loops harden. When your norepinephrine spikes, the flight or fight hormone, what happens is that you tend to do things that may not be within your values. The image on the left, I'm 37. I'm in Costa Rica, drinking, drugging. That was like 8 in the morning. I wrote a rap song, a rap line one time, stay up late in a country that be 10 hours away. Dang, that was that time. I was like 10 hours away. I was up that 10 hours later than I should have been. I have this norepinephrine spike. And what happens is that I'm thinking about something that may have happened before, and I have resentment. So I'm approaching life with a resentment implicit bias. That means I have a problem with somebody else. I've been blaming somebody my whole life, thinking about them, that it's because of them that I'm causing this problem, leading to that problem in a relationship. I have resentments towards myself. I try to fix, overcome, control my emotions, and then I do things that are not within my values, drink, drug. Then after that, have a substance-induced manic episode. If God hadn't helped me go to rehab, a substance-induced manic episode that made me out of practice for 6 months, my psychiatrist says that anybody who does cocaine will have a manic episode at some point. And then you get labeled bipolar. And then you have anxiety. And I'm like, look, I don't want all of these problems. I don't want all of these people that I say that I have all of these problems. What do I need to do is the question. And that would be to reprocess some of these memories that I didn't like and find ways to inspire from them. Rejection activates the same brain areas as physical pain. fMRI proves this. What this means is that when you're getting rejected, when you're getting ghosted, it's hitting those points in your chest, in your stomach, hoping that something good will happen, hoping that they'll return, hoping that you'll find somebody else, fill the void, and then maybe even act in vengeance and say, look what I did. I can't believe I did this. Instead, what you want to do is just develop yourself and become so good that you cannot be ignored. But this is a full body chemical collapse. What is a mind hygiene individual? What do they do when something like this happens? Let's try to ACEs your life with mind hygiene. A is accept your awareness. C is communicate your compassion. E is embrace your empathy. And S is soften the process. This is what I had to develop when I lived alone and nobody was there and I thought I was too dumb to reach out, or I just didn't think that I could reach out to anybody. I didn't think anybody would validate me and I thought people would say that I'm dumb. Instead, I designed a process through my years of cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, where you, A, accept your awareness. What's going on the inside? Let me write it down. I don't need to fix anything. I got ghosted. I just need to accept it. What's my awareness? On the inside, I'm hurting. On the outside, I pretend I'm okay. C is communicate with compassion. Am I doing something to take care of my spiritual health? Am I doing something to take care of my mind health? Am I sitting down? Am I meditating? You think I could sit down like this before? I was all over the place. I had to train myself to do this. I had to train myself to relax like this. I had to train myself to open up my body language like this, charismatically, by myself when nobody was watching me. And that's where you develop compassion for yourself. If you start taking action steps on a regular basis, 1 second at a time by writing it down, that's an action step, not on a Google Doc, not on a cell phone, on a piece of paper. Embrace your empathy. Understand that nobody is there with you. And S, soften the process. Don't make it seem like it's hard, difficult, or stressful. Is it hard to have life suck? Or is it hard to maybe write something down and make yourself feel better and personally develop yourself where people will come to you when you rely on yourself, when you have that inner soul that is screaming and saying that you love yourself and you're glowing, you look good, people are going to gravitate towards you. You're not going to have to chase anybody. You will be the prize. And that doesn't mean that people need to chase you either. What that means is that you understand the work that you've put in by yourself, living alone, to be where you are. And there is somebody named Dan Martell who says that if people think that you're too much for trying to ask for feedback, for working on yourself, for having, mini coaching sessions with yourself, or having therapists, then you go say, find less. When you soften the process and you don't talk to anybody, you don't blame anybody, it calms the limbic system, restores prefrontal clarity, and stops the emotional loop. These are studies from the narrative writing Penbaker, 1997, which shows that it reduces reactivity, improves decision-making, and builds identity resilience. What this means is that when you improve your decision-making, you're not having decision fatigue anymore if you write it down and you keep that promise to yourself. I'm not going to text her back. I'm not going to text him back because I have these core values and I'm going to live within them. Acceptance and commitment therapy show a 42% reduction in experiential avoidance and emotional suffering. What this means is that you have different experiences now. Don't think about it as positive or negative. Don't judge the experience. Say, I need to inspire from it, feel better about myself, love myself first, show myself compassion by taking action steps, and then after I forgive myself for some of the things that I may have done to other people, then I can be in a relationship again. You'll find a link in the description to the Mind Hygiene PDF that you can follow along, and I can share with you how I went from that image on the left when I was 37 to how I'm doing to the image on the right, where I have compassion for myself, I love myself, I empathize with myself, and I have taken time to forgive myself for the things that I've done to other people. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll be dropping videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And please share a comment, like the video, share it with people that may need to hear this. This will be a 5-part series, and the next one is going to be ghosted by a girl. I'm 45, a doctor, and I still fell apart only 15%. Namaste.